Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Let us read from the verse number 3. Manushyanam sahasreshu Kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam Kaschin mam veti tattvataha Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu Khammano buddhirevacha Ahankara iti yamme Bhinna prakrutirashtadha Apareyamitastvanyam Prakrutim vidhi me param Jiva bhutam mahabaho Yayedam dharyate jagata. Jnanam vijnana sahitam pravakshami. Lord Krishna said that I am going to tell you jnanam along with vijnanam. Several meanings of these two words were given. One more meaning can also be jnanam and vijnanam. Jnanam means nirgunam Brahman, Brahman that is beyond all the attributes, the absolute truth. Vijnanam can be the manifestation, that we sense vividhena jnanam, when one manifests as many. So Saguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahma and Saguna Brahma, meaning Lord beyond all the attributes, Lord with all the attributes. What's the relationship between the two? There are not two Ishvaras. Ishvara beyond all the attributes, Ishvara with all the attributes. Looks like they are two things opposed to each other, but they are not. Like an actor who is with all attributes, now a beggar, then a king, then a minister with various attributes. In his own nature, he is free from the beggar, king and minister. Because even when he is acting as a beggar, the beggar is something that is superimposed upon the actor. It is not the actor has become the beggar, actor manifests as beggar. So this beggar, minister, king, all of these can be called vijnanam, the various expressions, the manifestations of the actor, who himself is devoid of the idea of the beggar, a minister, a king. So also Ishvara, in his true nature, is devoid of any attributes, whatever. But at the same, one who is devoid of all the attributes can nevertheless assume many attributes. Like the crystal, which is devoid of any color, which is transparent, colorless, can assume any color, or can appear to assume any color that is placed, of the object that is placed beside that. So crystal appearing with various colors will be called Vijnanam. Crystal in its own true nature, which is transparent, colorless, is Jnanam. And same crystal appearing in various hues and colors will be called Vijnanam. Just to use the words. The idea is that all the colors are superimposed upon the crystal. The crystal, even when it appears orange, does not become orange. Crystal appears orange. Then may appear of a different color, whatever. Similarly also, everything is orange, So. Similarly, Ishvara, who is himself devoid of all the attributes, names, forms and attributes. Because understand that a name, form and attribute means limitation. When there is any one attribute, a person is great, then he is not small. When he is good, he is not bad. When he is red, he is not blue. The idea is that attribute means limitation. A form means limitation. A name means limitation because that is all it is and nothing else. If Ishvara has to be limitless, then he cannot be confined to a form, cannot be confined to a name, cannot be confined to an attribute. That means one who is in all names and forms and attributes, at the same time one who transcends the names and forms and attributes. Example of crystal is very clear. The crystal that is in all the colors, at the same time it transcends the colors. Like an actor is in all the various roles, at the same time transcends the roles. The relationship between the two, relationship between an actor and a beggar is one of Satyam and Mithya. We can say that the beggar is Mithya. Appears to be beggar, but not really a beggar. The color of the crystal is Mithya. Crystal appears to be orange, but it is not orange. So that which appears to be there, but that is not really there, is called Mithya. And so Ishvara appears to have all these names and forms and attributes and varieties and diversities and disparities. But this is an appearance, not an ultimate reality. Appearance can always be negated, can be dismissed, can be let go. That is real, can never be negated, can never let go. In case of crystal, the colors can be let go. When one color comes, other color is not there, each color displaces other color. But no color can displace the crystal. In case of an actor, the king will displace the beggar. And the minister may displace the king also. But none of them can displace the actor, because they are there on account of the actor. Lord Krishna himself will say all of this. But what is being described now, in order for us to understand that all there is Ishvara, we should understand in what way, whatever is Ishvara, in what way. If Ishvara ultimately is beyond all limitations, and has to be, truth has to be free from all limitations, otherwise it cannot be truth. Truth cannot be limited in time, that it is true only in the morning and then it is different in the evening, then it cannot be truth. It cannot be limited in the place that it is truth here and not out there. Truth has to be free from any conditioning. It's called unconditional. And thus, Ishvara has to be unconditional, meaning not limited to time, place or any conditions. And that can be when it pervades all time, place and conditions also. Meaning that time, place and conditions are not apart from Ishvara, but Ishvara is apart from them. Just as a beggar and king and minister are not apart from the actor, but the actor is apart from them. The B is equal to A, but A is not equal to B. The snake is not apart from the rope is independent of the snake. If this is understood, then we have no difficulty in understanding Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma. There is no problem at all. Because rope is snake also. At the same time, it transcends the snake. And so, same Ishvara, without losing his limitlessness, without compromising his limitlessness, appears to be limited. Thus, all limitations are appearance of same Ishvara. If limitations were real, then Ishvara has become real, limited, which cannot be, and therefore all limitations are apparent, called mithya. This is how Vedanta explains non-duality of Ishvara. There is only Ishvara and nothing else in this way. There is only the rope and nothing else. Only actor, nothing else. Only Ishvara, nothing else, because whatever else is there is an appearance. Is what we call an adhyaropa, superimposition. This is what Lord Krishna wants to explain. And to explaining that, first of all we are told how this whole universe also is nothing but the manifestation of Ishvara. As I said yesterday, the universe consists of just two entities, subject and object. Subject is a conscious being. Object, whatever can be objectified, is always inert. So Lord Krishna says there are these two prakritis, apara prakriti and para prakriti. The lower prakriti, the higher prakriti. Prakriti can be translated as nature. It can be translated also as power. So these are two powers of mind, twofold powers of mind, the material as well as spiritual, or the material as well as the conscious, because that's what the universe consists of. Therefore, my apara prakriti, or the lower prakriti, the lower power, the lower energy if you want to call it, is manifest in eightfold manner. So universe can be understood as made up of these 8 aspects. The 5 elements which explain the whole gross universe, as well as my gross body, then the mind, then the intellect, and the ego. So when Lord Krishna used the word ahankara here, so bhumirapo nanovayukham manaha buddhi ahankara. What is meant by ahankara is what is aham vritti. So manas, mind also is a form of thought. Buddhi, intellect also is a form of thought. Ahankara also is a kind of thought. So just for the sake of convenience, what we call antahkaranam or inner organ is only classified in this 3 ways. That our own, what is called mind in English, mind performs various functions. One is a function of feeling. At that time it is called manas. Function of knowing, then it is called buddhi. And the function of asserting, I-ness, it is called ahankara. All of these 3 are the states of mind, understand? Manaha, buddhi, ahankara. We can call them vrittis. We can call them kind of thoughts. A vritti or thought is nothing but a state of mind. So when my mind is in a state of feeling, emotions, deliberating, doubting, we call it manas. When it is knowing, deciding, determining, we call it buddhi. When it is experiencing sense of I, then we call it ahankara. So ahankara there also means a vritti and aham vritti. Just for your information again, all the vrittis or all the thoughts in our mind can be divided into 2 also. Aham vritti and idam vritti. The I thought and every other thought. So in our mind itself there are 2 parts. One part is the subject part, other is the object part. One part is the aham part, other is the idam part. The I and this. So one aspect of mind is I, aham vritti. That is why sometimes we find ourselves watching our own thoughts. Sometimes we find ourselves talking to ourselves. So who is talking to whom? I find myself catching myself. I caught myself napping, I caught myself, How can I catch myself? I can always catch somebody else, something else. But it is true that I caught myself because the aham vritti is I, and the one that I caught is idam vritti, the other thought. What was napping was the idam thought. The other thought, the manas, the buddhi. Aham is the subject, and manaha, buddhi are the object. So our mind itself consists of these two kinds of thoughts. The I thought and the this thought. The whole world, objective world, is perceived by me. It all results into what we call this thought. The tree thought, the clock thought, the book thought, or the happy thought, unhappy thought. These are all thoughts, which are what we call idam, or this thought. And there is someone who knows it all. Someone knows that this is a happy thought, unhappy thought, tree thought, clock thought. Who knows that? It is aham vritti. That is the ahankara, we call it aham vritti. That is the one that knows. That is where the kartru, doership, enjoyership, knowership, all of this is in the aham vritti. So Lord Krishna says, all of this is my manifestation. This is mine. My prakriti. The 5 elements, which includes the entire universe, as well as my body, plus the mind, plus the intellect. All of this is what we call the objective world, and aham, which is the subjective world. Again, for those who are studying Vedanta, it can be technically said that this is all what we call avidya vishaya, the object of avidya. Aham is the ashraya of the avidya. Aham is the ashraya, the very basis or locus of ignorance. All of these are the objects of ignorance. So Lord Krishna says, both of them I am. So this eightfold prakriti is mine, and then one that enlivens is prakriti, because prakriti or the matter is inert. But we find our body to be alive. Our mind, sense organs, intellect, all of these are alive. They are all there as the conscious. There is something that imparts consciousness to them. There is something that imparts sentiency to them. What is that? That is what we call the higher prakriti. So, prakriti vidyame param, para prakriti is higher prakriti, jiva bhuta, that's called jiva. That's called the conscious being. So when you use the word conscious being, what we mean is the jiva, the one that is manifesting himself through this body-mind complex. And that is what gives sentiency to this body-mind complex. Another comparison can be given is that of the sun reflecting in a bucket of water. So there is sun that reflects in a bucket of water. There is bucket, there is water, and there is a reflection. The bucket can be compared to the gross body. The water can be compared to the mind and intellect. And the reflection is the jiva. The one that is being reflected is sun. He is above all of this. But then, what we experience here is that our body, mind, and the reflected consciousness. Consciousness reflected in the aham vritti is called jiva. So, who is this jiva? The consciousness reflected in the ahankara, aham vritti, the I thought. Then that I thought becomes enlivened, in turn enlivens the other thoughts, and they in turn enliven the sense organs of the body. That's how successively this consciousness is transmitted. First, the consciousness becomes reflected in the I thought. That's the subtlest thought. From the I thought, then, it is transmitted to the other thoughts, and then to the body, and that's how this whole personality becomes sentient, becomes live. So, this is how Lord Krishna explains that the object also I am, and the subject, the conscious being. There is consciousness reflected in I thought, which is what we call jiva bhutam, jivatma, or what we call the ego, the jiva, the samsari. There is also my expression, that is my para prakriti, that is my higher power or the higher manifestation. The lower manifestation, higher manifestation. Yayedam dharyate jagata, by which this whole universe is sustained. Who sustains the whole universe? The conscious being sustains the whole universe. And that is further explained in the next verse, in the 6th verse. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya aham kritsnasya jagatah prabhavah pralayastatha. Etad yonini sarvani bhutani iti upadharaya. Here Arjuna, upadharaya, please understand this. Sarvani bhutani, all the beings. All the beings includes here the sentient as well as insentient, whatever that is in this creation, any name and form. Etad yonini has these two prakritis as a yoni, as a cause. So para prakriti and apara prakriti, the conscious as well as the spirit as well as the matter. I just use the word spirit. In terms of, that's generally the pair that's used, but spirit means consciousness. So reflected consciousness and matter, these two in fact make up all the beings. So look at our own self. We are a combination or union of these two aspects. One is the material aspect, other is the consciousness aspect. Our body, sense organs, mind, intellect, even the I thought, all of these are inert. And we have the reflected consciousness that enlivens the whole body-mind complex, and that is how we have what we call the life. Just as a bulb. In the bulb also we see the union of these two, the filament and electricity, and thus we have what we call the light. Here also, the filament is like this body-mind complex. Electricity is like the consciousness reflected in that, and that's how we have the manifestation of life. This sometimes they call Purusha and Prakriti. The words are used, Purusha and Prakriti. The person and personality. The conscious being, the consciousness and the matter, the upadhi. So person and the personality, the actor and the costume. In the 13th chapter, Lord Krishna has Kshetrajna and Kshetra. These different words are used. Kshetrajna, the subject. Kshetra, the object. In short, everything is a combination of subject and object. The consciousnness and matter, both of these combine to become this universe. Matter alone is not sufficient because matter is inert. It requires always an intelligent principle to form it. So we have the lump of clay. The lump of clay cannot form into a pot by itself. You require intelligence to be able to form it into a pot. Thus we say that a pot is an intelligent creation, which serves a certain purpose. Thus in a pot also we see intelligence, that it has certain shape to serve a certain purpose. So how a pot, for example, is a product of the union of the clay as well as the intelligence of the pot maker. So pot maker is the conscious being, the intelligent being, and the clay is the inert thing. The union of the two results into what we call a pot, a name and form. So etad yonini bhutani. Arjuna, understand that both these prakritis, the para prakriti, the apara prakriti, the matter as well as spirit, both of these are present everywhere. Whatever it is a union of these two. In this sense we say that Ishvara is everywhere because these two prakritis are nothing but the manifestation of Ishvara. So Ishvara manifests as the apara prakriti and para prakriti, as the object as well as subject. And everything is the union of these two, the matter as well as spirit. And that way, but this is what we have to see. But Swami, how do you mean there is intelligence in this table also? It's understandable that in the living beings, the consciousness is there, and the material vestures are also there. But where is consciousness in table, Swamiji? Where is consciousness in these all inert things? Is the consciousness there? The answer is, this consciousness there also. I mean, if there is consciousness in table, then how come it doesn't respond to me? This was done just, to draw your attention. How does it not respond to me? Well, the manifestation of consciousness varies depending upon the medium of manifestation. Just as electricity manifests as light through a bulb, and manifests as heat through a heater, and as cold through a refrigerator, so the manifestations of electricity vary depending upon the appliance or medium of manifestation. So also the manifestation of Ishvara vary depending upon the medium of manifestation. So what we call the living beings are those who have a subtle body in them. This is a gross body as well as subtle body. This manaha, this manas, buddhi and ahankar, that forms what we call the subtle body. And subtle body has this nature that it reflects the consciousness, becomes enlivened, and there we have what we call the life. Whereas in the rocks and what we call the inner things, there is no subtle body. Therefore, there Ishvara does not manifest as life. Understand that the manifestations are different. Not that Ishvara is present in one place and not in another place. So, what we call inert objects do not have subtle, they don't have a mind. They don't have an intellect. They don't have a subtle body. Therefore, Ishvara's manifestation through that name and form is only in the form of existence, Sat. Sat, Chit and Ananda, that's the nature of Ishvara. What we call the inert objects merely manifest the Sat aspect of Ishvara. The Sat and Chit, both of them become manifest then in such things as plants and trees and insects and other lower forms of life. And Sat, Chit and Ananda, they become manifest in a human being. As the evolution goes, the manifestation of Sat, Chit, Ananda becomes more and more evident. So the Chit and Ananda, the manifestation becomes more and more clear as the organism evolves, and human being is the most evolved organism. Therefore, the manifestation of all Sat, Chit and Ananda is the highest. It is not complete. We have to make it complete. The Sat is manifest that I am. Chit is manifest that I am conscious. But Ananda, that I am happy, is something that we have to do. So we have the potential of the manifestation of Ananda. And if you undertake a process of self-growth, then that Ananda also becomes manifest. That part we have to do. The Sat and Chit part Ishvara has done, God has done. But then, as far as manifestation of Ananda is concerned, that's what we have to do. That is what the process called self-growth. But same Satchit Ananda, which is what we call Ishvara or consciousness, is manifest in every name and form. Thus, there cannot be an object which doesn't have existence. Without existence, this cannot be. See, these three objects, as you know, has the three aspects. It is a name, it is a form, flower, it is a name, flower. This flower is. So flower displays existence. The flower is cognizable, meaning flower can become the object of my cognition. Flower has the capability of becoming object of my cognition. So what's the big deal, Swamiji? That is big deal. Because the horns on my head do not have the capability of becoming object of my cognition, understand? The horns on my head, even if they are there, nobody knows them. Because they cannot be cognized, they don't have cognizability. The flower has existence, it has cognizability, it has attraction. Everything has an inherent attraction. Everything has cognizability as well as inherent attraction. So, Swami, what is so attractive about this flower? It's just all gone, So what is attractive about it? That calls for a certain mind, I guess, for to be attracted to this flower. Maybe an ant may be attracted, maybe a bee may be attracted, maybe some insect may be attracted. Or maybe an artist may be attracted also. Somebody who has some aesthetic sense might be attracted to this. A photographer can take a picture of this flower and display before you in such a way that it will be just fantastic, So, wow, what is this? Just this flower. All you need is somebody to take a picture and frame it. Or take this flower itself and put a frame and a background and then display it. We need somebody to show us the beauty, that's all. Only when an artist draws something, then we go, oh, mountains are so beautiful. When a photographer takes a picture of that Mount Kailash, wow! When you and I go there, we may not find that, but when he shows us, it is there. One has to cultivate the faculty to see it. Attractiveness is there, beauty is there, harmony is there, ananda is there. Meaning that each object has the capability of giving us happiness, if we are ready. So, an object exists, it can be cognized, and it is attractiveness. It's called Sat, cognizable is Chit, its attractiveness is love or prema or ananda. And thus, every name and form has Sat, Chit, Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Sat, Chit, Ananda. That's called consciousness. So what do we mean by consciousness? When we use the word consciousness, what do we mean? Not a state of mind, but this principle, Asti, Bhati, Priyam. It's called consciousness, awareness, Brahman, or whatever other word we use, Asti, Bhati, Priyam. It's called Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman. That's how Upanishad defines Brahman as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Satyam, that which always is. Jnanam, that which always reveals, shines. Anantam, that is always limitless. That is Ishvara. And that alone is manifest through every name and form, regardless of what the name and form is, without exception. Ishavasyam, idam sarvam, yatkincha, jagatyam jagat. In the universe, whatever it is pervaded by Ishvara. As Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Every name and form is blessed by Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Edad yonini bhutani sarvani idu upadhaya. Arjuna, understand this. Sarvani, all the beings, sentient or insentient. All of these they display a combination of both para-prakriti and apara-prakriti. The name and form, apara-prakriti. The Asti, Bhati, Priyam, manifesting that is the para-prakriti. Aham Krishnasya jagataha prabhavaha pralayasthatha. In this manner, Lord Krishna says, I, the Ishvara, is Krishnasya jagataha, of entire universe. Prabhavaha, I am the origin. Pralayaha, I am the place of dissolution. Meaning that the whole universe emerges from me and it dissolves back into me. Meaning that it is also sustained by me. The whole universe emerges from me, is sustained by me, it dissolves back into me, and I am just the cause of the entire universe. As apara prakriti, as lower prakriti, as eightfold material manifestation, it is called the material cause. As the para prakriti, as a reflected consciousness, it is called the efficient cause. How Ishvara is called the material cause and efficient cause. As the very name and form, which is a matter, it is a material cause. And as Asti Bhati Priyam reflected in there, it is the efficient cause. Thus that intelligence is everywhere. In a pot also, there is intelligence. In flower also, there is intelligence. Because there are only so many petals and not more. Such and such color and not a different color. This shape and not some other shape. Thus every atom manifests intelligence. Everything that there is, every little insect, every plant, every cockroach, every mosquito, whatever there is, even a unicellular organism represents or manifests intelligence. Swami said, it manifests the omniscience. You call it the omniscience, the knowledge. Intelligence or knowledge is manifest everywhere. So Ishwar Darshan, thus Lord Krishna says how to see Ishvara everywhere. So how to see Ishvara everywhere? Every name and form, there is intelligence there, there is knowledge. No, but Swami is such a miserable fellow, I hate him. Suppose we leave that idea, The only thing that prevents us from seeing Ishvara is his hating. Attachment and aversion, that is what actually prevents us from seeing Ishvara. Moment I see something or somebody, immediately there is a reaction in me. I hate him. I love him. One of the two. But both of them make me sort of narrow-minded, and then prevents me from seeing the total picture. It doesn't matter. Suppose it doesn't matter what the person is. Somebody, how is he dressed? What does it matter? See how he talks? Doesn't matter. Look at how he looks. How he behaves. Suppose it did not matter at all. How it tastes, how it smells, suppose it doesn't matter. Suppose. No, but Swami, how can you say that? Look at him, he's a criminal. Suppose it did not matter. He's a terrorist. Suppose it did not matter. How can it not matter? Suppose it does not matter. Suppose you're watching a play, there is terrorists in there. Will it matter to you? You're watching a movie, Fahrenheit 9/11, whatever it is, and all kinds of stuff is there. It's all play, it's all drama, it's all mithya, is it not so? If you understand that the whole combination of para and apara prakriti, the matter and spirit is nothing but mithya, it is an appearance of Ishvara. If he comes as a beggar, I hate the beggar. Comes as a king, I love the king, but both are mithya. What matters is the one who is acting. That is Satyam. So what is the names and forms are just the vehicles for manifestation. There can be a bulb which is only a 25 watt bulb and a 500 watt bulb, and therefore one is bright, one is dull. Doesn't matter, electricity is the same. So what is meant by vairagya or objectivity is if I can be indifferent to the expression and I can focus my attention on what is there. Not being cheated by or not being distracted by how it appears, but I am focused upon what it is that appears. That's all Vedanta wants us to do. We are so preoccupied with, because we give so much reality to name and form, is natural. It's natural to give reality to what we see and think that what we see alone is real. But no, what we see may not be real. I see a snake there, it may not be real. What is there is rope. No, but Swamiji, this rope is miserable, it looks like snake. That's okay, it's an appearance. It is called Leela. It is called a play. You see, call it manifestation, call it glory of the robe that appears as a snake, and to somebody robe appears as a garland, to somebody it appears as a snake, to somebody it appears as a stick. Different imaginations. So glory to the robe. Don't hate the robe because it appears as a snake. It's an appearance. And don't love the robe because it appears as a garland. That is also an appearance. Suppose we can create a distance between with the appearance. Suppose. So you can imagine what kind of mind is required to do that. When we are watching a play, as you will watch Saturday evening, there will be all these children coming in different kinds of costumes. And even though on the stage there is I don't know what play they are going to stage this time, but anyway, suppose there is an Arjuna, there is Yudhishthira. I don't see Yudhishthira, I see only my son there. Arjuna, I see my friend there. So in my mind, there is already a distance created between what is mithya and satyam. That Arjuna is mithya, my son is satyam. If I know the mithya is mithya, I have no difficulty in letting it go. If mithya is taken to be satyam, I cannot let it go. The only reason why we can't let go things is because they are real for us. And what is real is missed. In the process of giving reality to what is false, what is real is missed. What is important is missed, and what is insignificant has become so significant. So what is called objectivity? What does it matter? In what form? What wrapper? Wrapper doesn't matter. Children fight for wrappers. So when we give them the candies, no, I want that one. The same stuff, but it's yellow. I want yellow. Somebody wants red. Somebody wants green. So they'll reach out inside. Spend 5 minutes to pull out that. Same stuff, but such a preoccupation, the wrapper. This is all a wrapper, that's all it is. What manifests is important. And that is Ishvara. That's what Lord Krishna says in the next verse. Says here, Mattah paraparam nanyata किंचिदस्ति धनंजय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव. मत्तः परतरम न अन्यत् किंचिदस्ति धनंजय. हे धनंजय, हे Arjuna, understand this. Mattah, other than me. Parataram, different. Parataram, superior to me, different from me, other than me, inferior to me. And yet nothing else is there. There is nothing else other than me. Lord Krishna says, there is nothing else other than me. All there is I. Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? Asti Bhati Priyam. Sat Chit Ananda. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. You call it Purna. Purna Madaha, Purna Midam. Idam is Purnam. This whole universe is Purnam. Adaha, the cause is Purnam, is complete. Effect also is complete. Purnameva avashishyate. What there is nothing but completeness, wholeness. That wholeness alone is called Ishvara. That alone is called Asti Bhati Priyam. That is called Satchit Ananda. And various other things. Vijnanam, Anandam, Brahma. So many words are used. Why so many words are used? Because someday some word will appeal to us. Depending upon our own frame of mind, depending upon our own mood, someday, today it clicked. This Tattva I have listened so many times, but today, because the mind is being prepared, We cannot escape the preparation of mind. We expose ourselves to the teaching. It has to have an impact. Whatever impact it has. And then someday a word becomes very meaningful to me. Someday Shiva means, oh yes, I understand what it is. So therefore, so many words are used which all mean the same actually. Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Satyam, Jnana, Manam. Not that these are all different attributes of Ishvara. Each one of them means Ishvara. But so many words are used to approach the same thing from different standpoints. Mattah Param. Therefore, there is nothing other than I. Call it Krishna, call it Rama, call it Shiva, call it Devi. Call it what you will. What was called Brahman in the Vedic times, in the Puranic times, same thing came to be called by these different names. So Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Ganesha, Devi. So each one of them becomes a gateway ultimately. All these different forms are given to us. They become a gateway to ultimately reach the limitless. So, Mattah Parataramna. Therefore to say that this Bhagavad Gītā, whenever Lord Krishna uses the word I, that means only Lord Krishna. Meaning the son of Devaki and that would not be right. This I means Ishvara. And all there is Ishvara. Mattah Parataram Kinchid Nanyad. Nothing else. Kinchid whatever. Nothing else, whatever is there beside me. All there is I. As Ishavasya Upanishad would say, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. In this universe, whatever there is nothing but Ishvara. There cannot be a vision that is nobler than this. Nowhere can we ever see this. And that's why no exception. Without exception, whatever is Ishvara. Swami, you mean that Ravana also is there and Kumbhakarna? These people also Ishvara? We have to accept it. We have to accept this statement. So the question, Swami, is Brahman in the terrorist also? In terrorist also? If Ishvara is everywhere, then why doesn't he stop this? You mean that Ishvara is there in the terrorist also? In a thief also? In a murderer? Why doesn't he stop it? So since we want Ishvara to be such and such, therefore the questions are there. How come he doesn't do what I expect him to do? Either I can retain my impression of Ishvara and expect Ishvara to be such, or I can change my impression to agree with this, one of the two. So when we say that the Shastra is the Pramana, the scripture is Pramana, meaning the valid means of knowledge. What it means that I should drop my opinions to understand what it says. When we say eyes are the Pramanam, Pramana means the valid means of knowledge to reveal color. If my eyes tell me there is orange color, my mind says, it can't be. How can it be orange? It has to be yellow. And it has to be white. Suppose it says that. Or suppose that is my preconceived notion that what a Swami wears is always yellow. Swamis can never wear orange, suppose. Or Swamis always wear orange, nothing else, suppose. And you see a Swami wearing something else. There are Swamis who do that, because in certain ashrams, there are Swamis who wear orange until 9 o'clock in the morning and after 6 o'clock in the evening. Between 9 and 6, they are like other people. They are civilians, wearing jeans and stuff like that because then they are working. Oh, working Swami. That's the kind of custom they have. Everybody has to work. And so, how can there be Swami in jeans? Or whatever you want to say, But he is a Swami. Now you change your thought. Not that you expect that your thought alone should find its, validation, but then, similarly, Lord Krishna says, whatever it is, Ishvara. Either I can question and say this is wrong, or I can question or investigate my own right conclusions that I have about Ishvara. So this text would be treated as pramanam, as valid means of knowledge. This is called Shraddha. Shraddha means implicit faith that there is no reason why what is said here has to be wrong. He has no agenda, no axe to grind. He is just revealing the truth. I have my own opinion. The problem with Vedanta and with physical science is that as far as physical science are concerned, we have no opinions. I am open. With reference to law of gravity, I have no opinion. With reference to physical world, I have no opinion in the sense that whatever science says, I am very objective about it because no preconceived notion as to what a flower should be or what an atom should be, whatever anything should be. When it comes to world, I have an opinion how it is. When it comes to Ishvara, I have an opinion. When it comes to myself, I have an opinion. That is why this becomes difficult. Because we not only have opinions, strong opinions. And that has formed the basis of our life so far. I've been living based on these beliefs and opinions. You mean this is wrong? What I did so far is all wrong? It cannot be. So this has to be wrong. But what we mean by Shraddha, the kind of benefit of doubt that we give to the eyes. When my eyes tell me this is orange, I accept it as orange. I don't quarrel. So also when Bhagavad Gītā says everything is Ishvara, I accept it. Not swallow it. But then I apply my mind to understand how can it be so? How can there be God in a terrace? How can it be? But that is why Lord Krishna did everything, He was everything. He was a thief also. You know that? He was stealing butter. He even stole away the clothes of this gopi. So, just to demonstrate that God can be a thief, in thief also there can be God, because he did everything. He fought battles also. And all kinds of people have a lot of complaints about Lord Krishna's conduct in the Mahabharata battle. Swamiji, why did he do this? He did everything. That God, everywhere God is, Everything is in God. He is not in anything. That theme will be revealed subsequently also. So, Mattah Parataram. Krishna means what? Krishna stands for Krishna. Krushi bhuvachaka shabda, nasya nirvruti vachaka. Krush means to be. Na means Ananda. Tayovaraikyam sadananda. Krishna means Satchidananda. What the name itself suggests. Lord Krishna says, there is nothing other than me. Nothing other than Satchit Ananda. Nothing other than Ananda or wholeness. Upanishad says, Ananda jeva khalvimani bhutani jayante, Anandena jatani jivanti, Anandam prayanti, abhisamvishanti. From Ananda, the wholeness, all the universe is born. By that, it is sustained. Unto that, it goes back. How can it be for us to say? So now, what is meant by Anukula Chintanam? The appropriate way of thinking is take that statement and try to understand rather than try to question that. That will require me to look at things in a different way. I have a certain way of looking at things, and that is how I have divided all these conclusions. Now maybe I need to change my way of looking. But Swami, if God is in terrace, why doesn't He stop it? Because we want God to do certain things. We don't want certain things. These are all my ragadveshas telling me. And thus we want God to be our servant and do what we want Him to do. But terrorist tells him to do something else. What will God do? Who will He listen to? Like this man, he has two daughters. One is married to a farmer, other is married to a brick, baker. What do you call it? Not bricklayer, but a brick maker, So once this father said, let me visit my daughters, see how they are doing. And so first he went to the daughter who was married to the farmer. How are you doing? We are doing very well. Now we have already prepared our field and we have sown the seed. All we are now waiting for rain. Father, please pray that rain should come. Okay. Then he went to meet the other daughter. How are you? Everything is wonderful, Father. We have just, baked all the bricks. They are all laid out now for drying in the sun. So now with the clouds are there. Father, please pray that there should be no rain for next 7 days. So what will he do? Everybody has different prescriptions of God. If he tries to do that, this world will come to an end in 1 minute. You try to order a world of yourself and you find that you cannot improve. This is manifestation of omniscience, of the infinite wisdom. This is how it is. And you try to apply your intelligence, like Swamiji tried to do, to see if we can improve this human body. And then he said, well, this nose seems to be in the wrong place, Because every time somebody sneezes, all the bacteria come here. Somebody smokes, all the smoke comes here. Very wrong place. Let us put it in a different place. And so he thought that we can put it on the head. Then the smoke goes up there, All the bacteria will go away and they'll be wonderful. That's nice. Until Swamiji was invited. And Swamiji, take coffee. But there coffee and tea and everything looks alike, So which one should I take? Take a cup. Oh, this is coffee. Okay. Then he thought, if the nose is in the top, how will you do that? You don't know what you're eating. And so if you think about it, you will find that you cannot improve. This is called omniscience. That's all-knowing. It is the infinite wisdom that is manifesting itself at every moment. In ourselves also it is manifesting, no doubt. But Swami, do you mean that we should not change anything? Change if you want to. If you think it should change, okay. But more we think about it, more we find that whatever it is in order. And there is a reason why everything is there. I'm not suggesting there should be terrorism. I'm not suggesting at all. I'm not saying there should be criminals or thieves, etc. But all I'm saying is that perhaps everybody has a role to play in this universe. In the game of the universe, everybody has a role to play. Everybody has some contribution to make. Otherwise, if we had our way, there will be no snakes and there will be no scorpions, there will be no tigers, there will be no lions, because all threat to us. Then let the world be free from all the poison ivies, there will be nothing. Okay? There must be some reason why it is there. Only botanists can tell us what poison ivy does, I do not know. But then, there must be some reason. If there is no reason, it cannot exist. And therefore, leave everything alone. Recognize that everything is in order. So therefore, the immediate manifestation of Ishvara, the Stivhati Prem, is that everything is in order. If you want to change something, do that. Without complaining and without blaming, do what you need to do. Suppose you are watching a movie and there is somebody planning to murder somebody and then you see, the music is there and this was the poor thing. Immediate 911, come quickly, the murder is going to take place. Do you call the police? You don't call the police. Why? It's why it's all movie, it's mithya. So when you know the mithya is mithya, there's no need to change. Is it not so? If the murderer was different from the one who is murdered, then the question of murdering comes, isn't it? Lord Krishna says there is nothing other than me. If murderer I am, the one who is murdered also is I. That means he is murdering himself, that's all it means. What does it mean? It means that this is just a play. Is it not so? When you understand this, ultimately it is an appearance. It is play. And therefore it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is the truth. But somebody looks upon rope as a snake, doesn't matter. Because just because you look upon it as a snake doesn't change. It doesn't become the snake. It's all mithya. And therefore, from the standpoint of the ultimate truth, doesn't matter what the form and name is. What matters is the content. What does it matter what the wrapper is? What matters is what the content is. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti. Nanyat kin, nothing whatever is there other than me. There is no material cause other than me, no efficient cause other than me, there is no effect other than me, there is nothing other than me. All it is I. This is called non-duality, one without a second. Mai saramidam prodam sutre maniganaiva. To show us now how he is present everywhere. In next few verses, Lord Krishna demonstrates how he is present everywhere. That I pervade everything. I sustain everything. As you said, this name and form is sustained by asti, bhati, priyam. This pot is sustained by clay. The effect is sustained by cause. I am the cause. I am the material cause of everything. I sustain the entire universe. Sutre maniganaiva. Like a cluster of beads in a string, manigana. Mani means the beads. Gana means cluster. Maniganaya, the cluster of beads are sustained by a string. Lord Krishna says, I am like the string, sustaining the entire universe, just as a string sustains the cluster of beads. So when there is a string, or a thread, which sustains this beads, then there is a very beautiful, harmonious arrangement, which is what we call a mala. If that thread was not there, all the beads would be scattered away. There will be no harmony, no order at all. So what provides that whole cluster of beads, what provides it the beauty, the harmony, the order? It is that thread. And so also the entire universe of names and forms enjoy the harmony. That is why we say that the whole universe is like an organic whole. It is not, it looks like it is an assembly of disparate things, but it is not. Just as my body is an organic whole. Even though the limbs are many, the organs are many, each has its own name and form and function, and still all of these are informed by oneself. And so also the whole universe is informed by oneself. Lord Krishna says, I am the self of the whole universe. Just as the self in my body sustains the entire body. Because there is one eye, whether it is earlobe, or fingerprints, or the toe, or the tip. Wherever, in every cell, there is one eye that provides, that makes this assembly an organic whole. So also the whole universe is an organic whole, sustained by oneself. Lord Krishna says, I am the very self of the whole universe, sustaining the entire universe like a string sustaining a cluster of beads. It is I who provides the harmony. It's I, because of it there is an order, there is a harmony in the entire universe. That is why everything is interconnected. There is nothing that is isolated, nothing that is unconnected. It is not an accident that we are a part of the whole universe. We are not an isolated being. And nothing can be isolated because it is one organic whole. Like all the millions of cells in my body, all of these are interconnected. And so also, whatever the universe is interconnected, interdependent, and thus makes one organic whole sustained by oneself. Lord Krishna says, I am the self that sustains the whole universe. That gives meaning. That gives existence to everything. Is I am present, that is why a thing is. That's why it shines. That is why it is attraction. So why are the objects of the world attractive? Why do they attract us? Because Lord is present there. What is attractive about this body? Why am I, my body? Why am I so attracted to it? Or to another person, or to anything? Why am I attracted? There is a reason. Because Ishvara, Asti, Bhati, Prem is present there. Unfortunately, we think that it is a name and form. That's what we hang on to. We think that this name and form that is attracting me. No. What is attracting me is the self. Asti bhati priyam. Once it goes away, then what? If that goes away from this body, as Bhada Swami used to say, H.H. Swami so and so, His Holiness Swami becomes His hollowness. That's what he becomes, Once that goes away. And later on he becomes His heaviness because it will carry him, So what then nobody wants it. Remove it, come on, cremate it. So far we are doing so much, so much attracted to it. No more attraction at all. Because what provides attraction is the presence of Ishvara. And thus He is present everywhere. That which provides existence, that provides the awareness, the intelligence, attractiveness. Mai saramvidam prodam sutre maniganaiva. Just as the whole cloth is woven in the thread, the warp and the woof, how the threads make up the whole cloth, and so also the whole cloth of the universe, who is the thread from which the whole universe is woven. Just as the cloth is woven from the cotton thread, so also what is it from which the whole universe is woven? Lord Krishna says, I am that very thread from which the whole universe is woven. It's a very beautiful embroidery. The whole universe is like a beautiful embroidery. How in the olden days they used to make embroideries with hand, not on the machines. One thing about that embroidery was that if you pull out the thing, the whole thing becomes dismantled, So many sisters may have this experience. They spend days and weeks together making a beautiful embroidery. So it is an embroidery, very beautiful design, made from one thread. And there is a beautiful garden there, and there are some trees, and there are some hills at the back, and the sun is rising, and there are a few deers, and the birds are flying, and there are a few people walking, and there is water in the lake, and very beautiful embroidery. About to be finished. And this girl has left, she has gone for some chore and left this piece of embroidery here on a table with that thread hanging out. And the little brother comes crawling, and he finds the thread and he pulls it. Hey, it comes out. And he's very interested. He starts pulling it and pulling it and pulling it. Now the deer is gone, the man is gone, the birds are gone, the tree is gone, the water is gone, the hills are gone, the sun is gone. Poor girl, before she comes back, everything is gone. Where did it go? Where did it come from? It came from that thread. It has gone back to the thread. The thread can say that I am the Ishvara. I pervade the entire universe of this embroidery. In that embroidery there can be a man who is sentient. There are hills which are insentient. But sentient, insentient are the expressions of the same thread in the embroidery. And so also, this whole universe is like an embroidery with one thread, and that is Lord Krishna says, I am that thread. Ishvara is a thread, and He informs everything. He sustains everything. He is the very self, the very essence of everything. Just keep contemplating on that. Not on the wrapper, on what is in the wrapper. Not on this name and form, what manifests through the name and form. Recognize that a name and form is just a vehicle for the manifestation of Ishvara. Asti bhati priyam. That's self. Call it harmony, call it order, call it beauty, call it wholeness, call it love, call it ananda. Everything is a medium of manifestation. And thus, Mai Saramvidam Prod, all of this is woven into me. All of this is threaded into me. I'm the very thread from which the embroidery is made. The very thread that sustains the cluster of beads, which provides it a harmony, provides it the beauty. So the harmony which is there, the beauty, whatever there is in this world, Lord Krishna says, it is my expression. So in these verses, so far, Lord Krishna explained this jnanam, who am I? His various manifestations will be told now in the subsequent verses. You can call it vijnanam, the various expressions of Him. We'll see that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat पूर्णमदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि